Well, Gaffer, it was a 2-1 defeat on Saturday. In a way, did it feel a little bit like the story of the season so far?
A little bit, certainly recently. I think we can say every game since the turn of the year we've been ahead in, relinquishing leads. I think it's 18 points from winning positions now. So a little bit where I think we showed some good signs and get ourselves in front, but as the game changes and the game adapts a little bit, I don't think we handle it very well, and yeah, that's been a little bit the story too often, I think.
And it's been a challenging season so far, as everyone knows. You just have to look at the league table for that. Has it been more challenging than perhaps you expected?
Yeah, I would say a lot more challenging than I first expected. The first time I met the club and of course spoke to Rich and the plans for the club and where the team was at. It's been a far bigger challenge than the one that we discussed. I think that the challenge of going from League 2 to League 1 is big, very big, and especially when you lose very big players, which we did. And we've alluded to before that maybe the plan for replacing them could have been better. So I think, of course, we've had that challenge of some of the strongest players from last season leaving the building and then trying to adapt into a new division for the first time in the club's history. So without a doubt, the challenge was massive, and it's been very difficult. I think we've had our own challenges as well, adapting and with a lot of injuries, and there's loads and loads of things, of course, that myself and the team feel like we can do better and that we're disappointed with. So yeah, it's been a struggle so far, without a doubt, but we're working really hard every day, working hard in terms of recruitment, in terms of coaching, just to try to get ourselves back on track a little bit.
And you mentioned recruitment and injuries there. Is there anything else that stands out as being particularly challenging, I guess, since the season has started?
I think, of course, we've got a young team. I think that's, of course, Jammer's gone now, but I think we only had Jammer and David Davis that was over 30. Now it's only David Davis over the age of 30 inside the squad. And that's part of the club's identity, that we take good loans or talented young players or players with extra potential to try to develop. And that's something that certainly the club, we need to be proud of, the fact that we want to try to blood young players and develop them and enhance them. Players like Harvey Bunker's come through this season. Ollie Casey's stepped up and developed in a really good way. So I think that's something that's really important. And that's going to be that is the future of the club. But of course, that inexperience at times has been a challenge stepping up into this league. We don't have a lot of League One experience, and I think part of that is going ahead in the games, understanding how to manage them. That experience of being down that road before is maybe just an area that we've lacked on a little bit.
How do you react to fan disappointment and fan frustration that has existed this season?
I think it's fair criticism. It's hard. It's really hard to hear. It's really hard to listen to. Everybody wants to come into the job and, of course, have everybody on side. And the negative chanting and feeling after games is difficult as a person to take, but also you have to respect the supporters have been through this journey with the football club, and supporters are the heartbeat of that, and they have absolutely every right to express their disappointment, without a doubt. We have to take that on the chin and just try to turn everybody's perspective and try to get a new energy going through the place. And I think a couple of good results, and of course the energy can change. We had it at the start of December. We felt a little shift after the Cheltenham game, but we've had some setbacks again. It's our responsibility to try to give the fans what they want, which is a team that's hungry to play, hungry to fight, and that's where we want to get to.
I mean, you mentioned a shift around the Cheltenham game, but even this time last week we felt a shift, didn't we? The draw at Exeter and a good performance against Birmingham. How do you then go about picking people up off the floor after a result like on Saturday?
I think the biggest thing, and we've just spoke about it with the staff, is that football is always very outcome driven. So the result on the Saturday kind of determines everybody's feeling. You could play a horrible game and win 1-0 and everybody's happy. You could play the same game and lose on a set play and feel horrendous. So it's we're always kind of driven by the outcome of the games. I think you said it yourself, like after the Birmingham game, there was a general feel of positivity because the performance was good despite the result. I think a couple of results again will shift the focus, but we've just got to keep trying to put in performances like we did in the first half against Birmingham, like we did for the majority of the game against Exeter away. You know, Exeter, we played a team that was in ninth with a full stadium, and I thought we went there and gave a really good account of ourselves. But it's so easy with then the next result for all that positivity to disappear, and I think we just have to try to focus on the next game, try to gather some momentum in the way in which we want to play, and try and take a step forwards.
In terms of the squad and January recruitment, I think, you know, it was only a couple of months ago we went to Oxford with 4 outfield subs, and now the squad's in a bit of a different place. How do you view where it is at the moment?
Yeah, opposite end of the scale really. We've gone from, like you say, we went to Oxford with 4 outfield substitutes. We actually played a great game there. And that we had our challenges early in the season. You know, I remember the Exeter game at home. We were absolutely threadbare and kind of playing players out of position to try to get a team out onto the pitch. We're in a position now where I think we've recovered a lot of those injuries. Players like Reece Brown, Dokes coming back from long-term injuries, Matty Stevens, and adding to that some players in January. So it's a far healthier looking squad. The biggest challenge now is when you're recruiting so many new players in the January window and you're straight into games, is to get these players knitted together during the games as fast as possible, and of course that's our challenge on the pitch now.
And what's your message going into tomorrow night, another tough game away at Bolton? What's your message to everyone ahead of that one?
Yeah, of course a tough game, massive club. We have to try to embrace the underdog spirit a little bit. I think that we put really big expectations on ourselves, and we haven't quite met them at times. We've been disappointed, certainly away from home, since the Bristol Rovers game without a win. So that's something that we want to try and put right, and we want to, and we've got to go out there, and we will undoubtedly have some pressure against us because they're a very good team. We're just going to have to weather through it, and really stand together and fight.